So Ronna McDaniel being hired by NBC definitely created quite the backlash. But what's been very interesting to me is seeing how Republicans are spinning this and the narrative that they are coming up with. They say the reason why that so many of us are upset with NBC for hiring Ronna McDaniel is because we can't stand to hear a difference of opinion. We can't stand to hear anyone challenge our opinion or challenge our thought process. And Sean Hannity and Tommy Lauren are absolute masters of gaslighting and masters of propaganda. So let's take a look at this clip and then we'll come back and talk more about it.
Oh, the vapors. I might hear a different opinion than I have. Oh, I'm going to pass out. One NBC insider telling Fox News Digital that the pushback has been so bad the network is now considering cutting ties with about McDaniel. Here with reaction, host of Tommy Lahren is Fearless on Outkick. Tommy Lahren, along with Fox News contributor, our friend Ari Fleischer is with us. Let's go over a few names, Tommy. Jessica Tarlov, Harold Ford, Juan Williams, Leslie Marshall. I happen to like all of them. I don't agree with any of them, but I like them. What is so hard about hearing an opinion that might be, is it that painful? Are they going to melt? I'm melting. What is the problem?
Well, I got to tell you, Sean, I actually really enjoyed watching the meltdown because it gave me a little preview of what is to happen if Donald Trump wins in November. I mean, they're absolutely going to lose their minds over that one. So selfishly, I just enjoy it for the entertainment value. But beyond that, you're exactly right. You know, the left loves diversity of all things. In fact, they mandate diversity of all things, except for ideas and opinions. They can't stand diversity of that. And they're happy to hire people who are so-called Republicans, as long as those so-called Republicans hate Donald Trump. I believe it was Joy Lisanne Reed who said that it would be okay if they hired Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger. Well, of course, we know why that would be, because those are more of the rhino types that are more friendly to the preferred narrative that those networks like to push out. But again, they can't stand to be around ideas that challenge them. And even more than that, they don't want their audience to be exposed to ideas that might challenge their audience, because if they were here to hear the truth, they might change the way they vote. And these networks simply cannot have that happen. Their Trump derangement syndrome will not allow it.
So that's how they're going to spin it. That we, of all people, can't stand to have our ideas challenged, that we can't stand to hear another point of view. Folks, I don't know how you identify in the political world. I don't know if you call yourself a liberal, a Democrat, a progressive, or whatever label you may use. But I can tell you, as someone who does lean to the left, that when you lean to the left, you are exposed to a much broader palette and a much broader spectrum than you are if you're over in MAGA land. You know, I play in a band with 3 other musicians, all of which have like-minded viewpoints and all of which would definitely identify with being on the left side of the aisle. But if we have a conversation after rehearsal, we're going to hear a wide range of topics come up. It's not going to be a one-sided story. I'm going to hear ideas of all sorts, and I'm going to hear ideas that I know nothing about, that I'm going to have to learn about, that I'm going to have to sit down and read and study and bring myself up to speed on. I've always argued that we could sit there, and while we're having our debates, there's 4 people sitting there having discussions, and you're going to hear 4 completely different points of view. If we talk about Joe Biden, you're going to hear 4 completely different takes on what we think of his presidency. And that's coming from people who both vote the same way. If you talk about any issue, I'm always going to be hit with a curveball and hit with something I didn't see coming when I'm sitting and conversing with people on my side of the aisle. Meanwhile, over in MAGA's world, where is the diversity? Where is any ideas that doesn't just include me? They are the party of me. They're always talking about their life, their tax dollars, their way of life. They're never looking over and talking about anyone else. When have they ever raised awareness on other people's struggles? When have they ever even entertained the idea? Whenever we try to talk about those things, we get labeled as woke. We get told that we have a mind virus. So no, we're not upset that Ronna McDaniel got hired because she has a difference of opinion than us. We're upset because Ronna McDaniel got hired and she was someone who went out there and tried to work alongside Donald Trump to overthrow democracy. And she is someone who has done nothing but demonize people like NBC. Why the hell would anyone at NBC, like a Rachel Maddow, want to work along beside someone like that? And I think Rachel Maddow really summed it up better than I ever could. So I really want you guys to see this clip.
I want to associate myself with all my colleagues, both at MSNBC and at NBC News, who have voiced loud and principled objections to our company putting on the payroll someone who hasn't just attacked us as journalists, but someone who is part of an ongoing project to get rid of our system of government. Someone who still is trying to convince Americans that this election stuff, it doesn't really work, that this last election, it wasn't a real result, that American elections are fraudulent. Because that argument, that is a necessary part, that is the most necessary part of the overall project of getting us as Americans to give up on this election stuff. Because wouldn't we rather have a real man in charge anyway, somebody who could really get some stuff done, if only we could clear away all the things in his way. We have a long history in this country of forgettable men telling us that we need a new system of government where everything's under their control and politics is over and this new strongman way of government is gonna make America great again. We have had a lot of these guys. But our generation's version of this guy has gotten a lot farther than all the rest of them. And why is that? He would have been as forgotten as all the rest of them had he not been able to attach himself to an institution like the Republican Party, and had the leader of that party in his time not decided that she wouldn't just abide him, she would help. She would help with the worst of it.
You see, folks, at the end of the day, that's it. Ronna McDaniel took part in helping Donald Trump do everything that Donald Trump wanted. Hell, she even changed her name for Donald Trump because he didn't like Mitt Romney. It's not about a difference of opinion. This has got nothing to do with that because, like I said, on our side of the aisle, we hear a difference of opinion every day. That's what our side of the aisle is all about, is a difference of opinion. But we are not going to sit down and say, oh, we have a difference of opinion when it comes to democracy. There's where we don't have the two-sided argument. We can have the two-sided argument all day long. You want to talk about pineapple on a pizza? I can take it or leave it. You want to talk about vanilla ice cream or chocolate? I prefer vanilla myself. Butter pecan's my favorite. If you don't like that, that's cool. We can still be friends. But if you want to overthrow democracy and you want to install a dictator on day one, that's where we can't really continue to have this both sides argument. And that's where I can't entertain your idea. Hey, I just got done talking. I made a great video with Texas Trey. He was a lifelong Republican. Voted that way his entire life. He got fed up with MAGA. Now, some would say, well, you're only talking with him because he got fed up with MAGA. No, the reason why he and I are now sitting here having this conversation is because while we may have different ways of going about things, we both still believe in democracy. That's what it is. So when they try to say, oh, they only want Republicans who don't like Donald Trump, actually, you're damn right. That's exactly what we want. We want Republicans who believes in democracy. We don't want to be associated with people who wants to install a dictator and do away with democracy. We can sit and talk and have differences of opinion all day, and we already do that on our side. Our side is a much broader spectrum. I am more tuned in and more aware of everything going on in the world than I've ever been since I sat down in a chair like this and decided to really start talking and doing these style of videos, because it has challenged me to learn and to educate myself and to get better at all of it. And you can't do that in MAGA's world. You just have to stay right there, locked in that mindset, do everything the cult leader says and don't question him. And if you question him, then you're kicked to the curb. So how dare they turn to us and say, we can't have a difference of opinion. We welcome a difference of opinion. But when it comes to Ronna McDaniel, she took part in trying to overturn an election she knew she lost because she said, I was just taking one for the team. She was okay with overthrowing democracy, and that's where we draw the line.